Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. My name is Crown, and today I'm going to read you some very interesting stories that I hope that you're gonna love. And now, without further ado, let's go! I was picking out some supplies for the week when I noticed a kid trying frantically to climb a shelf to get a case of energy drink. So I reach up and grab it for her. I hand it to her, she smiles, says thank you, and runs off. As she runs off, she trips, sending cans flying and getting sprayed from the popping cans. The poor thing starts freaking out a bit while I pick up the cans and try to calm her down. Little did I know she wasn't freaking out because she felt bad for making a mess. "What are you doing?" Even Karen in training yells from down the aisle. Next thing I know, I see this 17-year-old girl storming down the aisle. "Why are you crying? I told you to get me a case of energy drink and meet me at the car." I say, "It's okay, she just tripped and is a bit freaked out she made a mess." "Who are you?" "I was just helping her get it down before she—" "What did you knock her down for? You can't do that." "I didn't do anything, I was just helping her." "You just screwed up. Where is your manager? Give me your manager now." "What are you talking about? I don't even—" "Shut up! You just hurt my sister, and I'm going to sue your store." As she's screaming at me, the manager of the store walks up. He sees a mess of cans and energy drink on the floor, a little girl crying, and a pissed-off teen screaming at a 30-year-old guy. "What's going on here?" The manager asks. "Your idiot employee just stopped my little sister from grabbing that case of energy drink and hurt her. I'm going to sue you now." The manager looks over to me and asks, "What happened?" I told him I had no clue. I just handed the little girl the case and she took off and tripped. He then walks over to the girl. "Are you okay? What happened?" She wipes back her tears. "I didn't want to. She made me." "She made you do what?" The manager asked. "She made me take it. I was supposed to grab it and take it to the car." Karen chimed in. "It doesn't matter. Your stupid employee hurt her trying to stop her. I am going to sue you for assaulting my sister." He then reached down and held the little girl's hand. "It's okay, let's get you cleaned up." He motioned for the assistant manager that came by to see what was going on. He told her to take the little girl to the back room to get cleaned up. "You think this is going to save you? We're still going to sue no matter what you do." She then followed the assistant manager and the little girl into the back. The manager then asks for me to follow him to the front of the store, where he flags down the police cruiser sitting in a parking lot. I don't live in a nice area. They called another car in, and the manager and I watched Karen being taken away kicking and screaming. "What are you doing? Employees can't touch you. You hurt my sister. Arrest him. Little sister, they hurt you. Tell them." The little girl didn't say a word and just watched while she clung to the assistant manager. The manager informed the cops I didn't work for him and that I didn't try to stop the girl. He showed them the security tape, so I was in the clear. The officers then took a statement from me and let me go. Turns out their mother was a trash bag that didn't give a rat's about them and was never home. Karen was abusing her little sister and forcing her to steal for her. Child Protective Services was called and took the little girl out of that horrible situation. Once she was safe, she told them everything, and Karen was charged with child abuse and sent to prison. Hey there folks, grab a seat and let me tell you a wild tale that recently happened to me. It all started on a sunny afternoon when I decided to take a stroll through the local park. Little did I know this simple outing would turn into an unexpected encounter with an entitled person of epic proportions. Now, before we dive into the juicy details, let me introduce myself. I am Jake, a retired cop with a love for leisurely walks and peaceful afternoons. After dedicating many years to maintaining law and order, I was ready to enjoy a more relaxed lifestyle. I still had that cop instinct within me though, and I couldn't help but intervene when I saw someone in distress. On this particular day, I noticed a commotion near the park's fountain. Curiosity piqued, and I made my way over to see what was happening. There, in the center of it all, was a Karen, a living, breathing embodiment of entitled behavior. She was locked in a heated argument with a young woman who seemed genuinely bewildered by the whole situation. Without thinking twice, I approached the scene, hoping to diffuse the tension and offer some assistance. "Hey there, what's going on?" I asked with a friendly smile. Karen's eyes widened as she turned her attention towards me. "Mind your own business, old man," she snapped, clearly not interested in any form of resolution. Ignoring her harsh words, I turned to the young woman, who looked visibly relieved by my presence. She explained that Karen had accused her of stealing her spot on a nearby bench. It was a petty dispute, but Karen had escalated it to an extreme level. "Listen, ma'am," I said calmly to Karen. "There is no need to cause such a fuss over a bench. Let's find a way to resolve this peacefully." Karen's face turned beet red as she clenched her fists. Her anger was palpable at this point, and I could tell she was on the brink of losing control. "How dare you interfere? This is none of your business," she shouted, pointing a finger in my face. I took a step back, maintaining my composure. "Look, nobody wants any trouble here. Let's take a deep breath and talk it out like reasonable adults." But treason was not in Karen's vocabulary. She lunged towards me, her eyes filled with rage, ready to physically attack me. Instinctively, I swiftly sidestepped her oncoming fury, causing her to lose her balance and tumble to the ground. It was a move I learned back in my days on the force, and it still came in handy from time to time. By now, a small crowd had gathered, drawn by the spectacle unfolding before them. Gasps of astonishment filled the air as Karen struggled to regain her footing. It was clear that her temper had gotten the best of her, and she was no match for the old, retired cop. Seeing her defeated and vulnerable, I decided to take this opportunity to defuse the situation completely. "Alright folks, nothing to see here. Let's give Karen some space and let the authorities handle it," I said, gesturing towards a passerby to call the police. Within minutes, the park security arrived, followed closely by a couple of uniformed officers. Karen's face turned pale as she realized her actions had consequences. Her attempted attack on a retired cop was a grave mistake. The officers approached her, listening to my side of the story along with the accounts of the other witnesses. It was clear to everyone that Karen's entitled attitude had led to this unfortunate outcome. As the police placed Karen in handcuffs, she let out a string of profanities, blaming everyone but herself for the predicament she found herself in. It was a stark reminder of the dangers of the entitlement and the importance of treating others with respect. Once Karen was safely in custody, I approached the young woman who had been at the center of it all. She was still shaken but grateful for the help. We chatted for a while, exchanging stories and laughter, finding solace in the fact that this bizarre encounter had brought us together. In the end, justice prevailed and Karen learned a valuable lesson about the consequences of her entitled behavior. As for me, well, I couldn't help but feel a sense of relief that nobody was seriously hurt. It was a reminder that even in retirement, the instincts of a cop can come in handy when needed. So there you have it, my friends, the story of Karen's failed attempt to attack a retired cop who simply tried to calm her down while she was fighting with an innocent bystander. It's a tale that serves as a reminder to us all to approach life with kindness and respect. And hey, if you ever encounter an entitled person like Karen, just remember to sidestep their negativity and let the authorities handle the rest. Stay cool out there. This happened a few years ago when I used to own a condo. I initially bought a condo from my older brother who gave me a good deal since he got another job and had to move to another city halfway across the state. The HOA would not let him rent out the condo, so he sold it to me. After moving in and learning about how bad HOAs can be the hard way, I noticed that there is a problem with the foundation. There were some spots where there was a large noticeable gap between the wall and ceiling. All of the buildings had 4 condos each. I reported the issue to the HOA and they never initially replied back about it. They decided to ignore the issue instead. Over time, I had noticed that the cracks were getting bigger and occasionally heard popping noises at night coming from the attic. I had tried reporting the issue again and the HOA simply ignored it again. I decided I would like to sell the place and get out of there. Because of the foundation issue, nobody would want to buy it at the time. I had also eventually met one of the neighbors who was also reporting similar foundation issues. Eventually, after enough complaints, the HOA board decided to finally start fixing the foundation issues. That is when I found out that at least 8 other buildings had similar foundation problems, and they then issued my first special assessment at about $3,500. Everyone in the affected buildings had to pay the special assessment. They then started working on a couple buildings and fixed the foundation issues there, and then they stopped working on repairing any other buildings. It looks like the buildings that the board members lived in got fixed before they stopped. Something did not seem right at all. After sending messages to the HOA board to ask why they stopped and when they will continue work, they ignored everything again. It looks like the HOA board decided to play games with fixing the buildings and tried to ignore the issue as much as possible, while collecting special assessment payments. Also during this time, they kept also raising the monthly HOA fee as well. Around this time, I met some of my neighbors who also had foundation issues as well. One of them was a retired reporter who specialized in finding corruption in large corporations and government offices. She started to help us out with the legal issues and to fight the HOA in court if it got to that point. Eventually, the HOA decided that they will issue another special assessment for around $3,000 to help cover the costs of the foundation repair. During this time, the HOA ignored all the questions about when the foundations will be fixed while collecting more money from special assessments. My neighbor got the rest of the neighbors in that building together for us to help fight the HOA. She wrote letters demanding answers about when things will be fixed, and we would all sign them to show the HOA that we are not playing games anymore. This went on for a while. Eventually, the property manager tried to actually claim that my building had no foundation issues. I decided to call a couple foundation repair companies and got some quotes for foundation repair. Apparently, the foundation sank about 3 inches according to them. I then sent a copy of those estimates to the property management. One of them was over $10,000 just to fix my corner of the building. I was also threatening to have the foundation company fix it myself, using the funds from the sale of the condo. The property manager was then forced to admit that there was a foundation problem in my building. Also, during this time, my neighbor did talk to an HOA lawyer that specializes in going after abusive HOAs. She also called various local city offices as well. The city government actually stepped in and also threatened to sue the HOA. Around this time, the fire department came and inspected the building. What they found was very disturbing. The support beams for the roof were breaking. I was also sent pictures of the support beams. They were bending and starting to break. Code enforcement came by and also issued the HOA a fine. The HOA kept trying to play games and still refused to fix the building this whole time. That didn't work when the city manager's office threatened to sue the HOA on our behalf if they didn't fix the problem very quickly. The HOA finally got a foundation repair company to come check the foundation and fix it, and they held a meeting for us with the foundation company to go over the repair process. That is when I found out that one of the units had the foundation sink as much as 6 inches. Also, after that meeting, we ended up getting a third special assessment for $2,500. After finally fixing the foundation issue, the HOA was also forced to replace the roof as well. All of these repairs got very expensive for the HOA. Around the time they replaced the roof, I sold my condo and got out of there. During this entire time I had to fight the HOA, I had found out that they previously fired the last 2 property management companies. Also, the HOA board had been ignoring foundation issues for at least 10 years. Eventually, the problems got so bad that it required the city to threaten to sue the HOA in order to get them to fix the problem. Also during this time, the HOA actually tried to issue a $12,000 special assessment to everyone there. They tried to sneak it into a board meeting and hoped that nobody found out about it until it was passed. What actually happened is that someone found out about that special assessment and put flyers on everyone's door telling them about it. The next meeting, a riot almost happened, and the $12,000 special assessment failed very badly. Most of the homeowners attended that meeting and let the HOA board know, in a not-so-nice way, that they did not like that at all. I work a field service job where faults are called in and are attended to within a few hours. Lots of driving, very unpredictable workloads with while you're here faults, and some venues can have as many as 300 machines, so it's not uncommon to have 3 to 10 extras mentioned on top of the original issue. Usually we would just fix them and not bother wasting the time having a call raised, processing it through our job system and so on. 2 extra minutes unaccounted for is more efficient than 2 minutes repairing and 5 minutes processing a job. I got into the habit of picking up enough work at once that I could reasonably expect to run out of work with 1 or 2 hours left at the end of my day. If anything went wrong, I'd have a buffer to get the work done by the end of the day, even if it meant skipping my lunch break. Typically, I'll be taking my lunch break around 2 or 2:30 p.m. for half an hour, on a 4 p.m. finish if nothing went wrong. I got rebuked for taking lunch too late, explaining that rationale didn't help. Policy is policy. So now I take one job at a time instead of taking multiple logical jobs that minimize time spent traveling. I raise a call for every single extra job, even if it's a 1-minute fix. I down tools and take my lunch break exactly halfway through my shift, no matter what I'm in the middle of. This is likely going to result in venues unable to treat for 30 minutes longer in some cases. The end result is that I have no stress on me because I only ever have a single job behind me. I'll never get caught at the end of the day with work left undone. I waste more time raising new jobs, reducing the actual number of fixes I get done each day. But my stats will look like they have doubled. And of course, my meal breaks are exactly how they asked them to be. I am happier through the course of my day than I've been in a long time. And now we have reached the end of today's stories. Thank you for watching and see you next time.